You meet someone for the first time. They say just a few simple things, but something about them makes you not want to walk away. It's not their looks. It's not their money or status. It's the way they speak that makes you feel like they have weight, depth, a soul. The words they choose reveal their true character. As human beings, we're naturally drawn to strength and authenticity, the kind that doesn't need to boast, but still commands attention. I'm not here to teach you how to manipulate people or use power words to control anyone. What I want you to understand is that true attraction comes from virtue, from the real essence of a person, expressed through their words. It's the authenticity that doesn't need to be showcased. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Observe their actions, understand their motives, and you will see their true nature, and your words, they're the mirror reflecting that nature." The line between short-lived charm and lasting attraction, it's authenticity. Because words aren't just sounds, they're the map into someone's mind. The way someone says sorry, thank you, or even no, will reveal more about them than any introduction ever could. In a world full of walls and social masks, being able to spot the small signs of someone's true nature, that's a skill that will set you ahead of most. It helps you know who's trustworthy, who's worth keeping close, and most importantly, it helps you reflect on your own character. This video isn't about teaching you how to sound charming. It's about helping you understand why virtue itself holds real power. Because the honest person doesn't need to perform. The person who understands themselves doesn't need to prove anything. And the person who lives with principles doesn't need anyone to validate their worth. Today, I'm going to show you 8 simple words that can reveal a person's entire essence. How they use these words will tell you everything about their humility, their compassion, their boundaries, their truth, their sense of sufficiency, and their dignity. If you truly want to understand people, not through your emotions, but through depth, stick around until the end of this video. Because once you understand these words, you'll not only hear others more clearly, but you'll hear yourself more clearly too. This isn't about learning words. It's about learning character. Stay till the end, and you'll start seeing people differently. Sorry, the strength of those who can admit they're wrong. How do you know how strong someone is? Look how they react when they're wrong. The weak hide, they blame, they justify. The strong stop, take a deep breath, and say just one word: sorry. Not sorry, but not sorry you feel that way, but a clean, honest apology. It's my fault. That moment, it's the line between ego and character. Pretending to be perfect takes no strength. Facing your mistakes, now that requires real courage. Most people choose self-defense over correcting their mistakes. They choose pride over truth. They choose image over progress. But every time you truly admit when you're wrong, you show that your self-respect is stronger than your ego. In a world where everyone is afraid of being wrong, admitting your mistakes is a revolution. Sorry isn't surrender, it's power. It's a declaration. I choose truth over image. I choose growth over ego. I once saw a female manager stop her presentation in the middle and say to the whole room, "I was wrong about that number. Let's fix it right now." The room went silent. No one judged. Everyone respected her. Because honesty shakes people in a world full of pretense. The truth is, people trust those who admit they're wrong more than those who are always right. Perfection might make people admire you, but humility makes them believe in you. When you say sorry without explaining, without blaming, you show the world that you're real, you're strong, you're learning. That's true strength. That's true character. Strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up without hiding the scars of your fall. Next time you're wrong, don't run away. Stop, say it, and mean it. Sorry, because being right makes people respect you, but owning your mistakes makes them trust you. Understand the strength of empathy. Everyone wants to be heard, but very few people truly know how to listen. Most don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. They listen with an ego ready to react, not with a heart ready to understand. Mature people are different. They don't interrupt. They don't rush to fix things. They don't feel the need to sound smart. They stop, they observe, and they listen with discipline, not instinct. Because true understanding isn't a weakness. It's the highest form of self-control. It's the ability to silence your ego long enough to step into someone else's world. And that's rare, because silence makes us uncomfortable. We fear the pause, so we fill it with words. But every time we interrupt, we're saying one thing: my story matters more than your feelings. The wise understand the opposite. Epictetus once said, "God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak." True wisdom doesn't lie in what you say, but in what you're wise enough not to say. I once saw 2 people argue. One person was shouting, veins popping out of their neck. The other was silent, not because they were afraid, but because they were observing. They listened to every breath, every pause, every burst of anger. And when they finally spoke, they said just one thing: "I understand." The room went silent. Empathy is not agreement. It's the calm in the storm of someone else's emotions. It's when emotion follows reason, and ego makes way for compassion. The weak need to speak to get attention. The strong can be silent, yet still make others listen. Because empathy doesn't make you weak. It makes you deeper. Don't get it wrong. Empathy isn't soft. Empathy is power. It's the ability to control your emotions when your instincts urge you to speak. It's leadership without commanding. It's knowing when to stay silent, because silence is the pinnacle of strength. When you truly understand someone, you give them something every argument fails to provide: peace. When they feel understood, they no longer need to defend themselves. They begin to trust. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, the one who knows how to listen becomes rare and unforgettable. People may forget what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel understood. Remember, you don't need to agree to show respect. You don't need to fix things to help. You don't need to speak to lead. The people who know how to sit in silence, who can listen without reacting, who create space for others, they hold a power that most people will never reach. Everyone talks about empathy, but only those who've mastered their instincts truly understand what it means. Empathy doesn't start in the heart, it starts with discipline. The next time someone vents, complains, or cries in front of you, don't rush to speak. Don't rush to advise. Don't lecture. Just look at them and say the simplest but most powerful words: "I understand." Because in that moment, you're not just listening to another person. You're listening to the part of yourself that knows how to love without saying a word. And that's the only strength that can make this world stop and truly listen. True power doesn't lie in words. It lies in the silence that understands. Thank you. The strength of gratitude. There's a kind of strength that doesn't come from muscles. It doesn't come from status, but from just simple words. Thank you. It may seem small, but it's the smallest things that reveal the truest nature of a person. Many people think thank you is just polite, but in reality, it's a test of character. Because someone who can't say thank you is often the person who takes everything for granted. Gratitude isn't weakness. It's a sign of strength, the strength to acknowledge that you didn't do it all by yourself. When you say thank you, you're not bowing your head, you're lifting the value of another person. In a world where everyone is busy racing forward, gratitude is what forces us to pause and remember that we're not walking this path alone. A Stoic man doesn't say thank you to appear humble. He says it because he truly sees the value. He understands that everything he receives, no matter how small, has value. A helping hand, a piece of advice, or simply someone who listens, all deserve appreciation. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Remember the people who help you progress, because they are the bricks on your path to virtue." This isn't a religious reminder. It's a lesson in truth. No one becomes great by forgetting gratitude. I once saw a leader who stood out. After every meeting, He thanked everyone, from the youngest staff member to the person handing out materials, not because he needed to win favor, but because he understood when people feel recognized, they'll give more. A simple thank you doesn't cost you anything, but it can make someone remember you for life, not because it's sweet, but because it's real. Gratitude isn't about showing off. Someone who truly feels grateful doesn't need to say much. They just need a glance, a nod, or a small gesture, because gratitude isn't in the words. It's in the awareness that the world today teaches us to demand. But Stoicism teaches us to reflect and acknowledge. You cannot master yourself if you always feel lacking. Gratitude is the antidote to greed. A grateful person isn't one who simply submits. They still reach for more, still strive for better, but they fight from a mindset of sufficiency, not from a place of scarcity. And that's why they aren't easily shaken. Thank you isn't just words. It's a way of seeing, a way of living, a way of respecting life itself. When you say thank you to someone, you're telling them, I see you, I appreciate you. And when you say thank you to yourself, you're telling yourself, I've come a long way, and I'm still learning. Gratitude doesn't make you weak, it makes you quietly strong. Because the grateful person doesn't need to be better than anyone else. They only need to live true to their own values. Some people wake up and complain because they have to go to work. The grateful person wakes up and says, I still get to work. Some people gripe about the rain. The grateful person looks up and says, rain keeps life going. Same reality, two attitudes. One complains, one matures. Stoicism doesn't tell you to pretend to be happy. It teaches you to see things for what they truly are. If you can't change the circumstances, change your perspective. And the perspective of gratitude always helps you see the light. Even on the darkest days, gratitude is the strongest medicine for an unsettled mind. When you are grateful, you no longer owe life anything. You only have one task, to live better. So, say thank you. Thank the people who helped you. Thank the ones who hurt you, because they taught you how to be stronger. Thank failure, because it taught you humility. Thank the journey, because it shaped you into who you are today. Gratitude doesn't make you shine. It makes you steady. And in a world full of boasting, steadiness is a rare kind of power. Perfection makes people admire you. Gratitude makes people respect you. Because in the end, the most memorable person isn't the one who has it all, but the one who never forgets to say those two words, thank you. Strength begins where entitlement ends. Strength begins where gratitude appears. Nitrogen monoxide. The strength of boundaries. Everyone wants to be liked, but strong people don't live to be liked. They live to be respected. And respect begins with one word, no. It may sound small, but it's heavy. Because saying no isn't just about rejecting others, it's how you assert your own boundaries. The boundary between what's right and what's comfortable. The boundary between honesty and falseness. The boundary between peace and exhaustion. Most people don't dare say no, because they fear disappointing others. They're afraid of being seen as cold, distant, or different. But the Stoics understand that silently agreeing is the shortest path to burnout. Every time you say yes when your heart wants to say no, you're betraying yourself. Once it's fine, twice is okay. But by the 10th time, you won't even recognize who you're living for anymore. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, know what belongs to you and what does not. This isn't just philosophy, it's a map to keep your soul grounded. I've seen a friend fall apart from just simple words. Sure, she said yes to everything. Yes to every favor. Yes to every invitation. Until one day, she broke down crying in the office. Not because someone hurt her, but because she hadn't known how to stop. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you clearer. Because someone with boundaries doesn't need to impress. They just need to be consistent. The world praises those who give, but few teach us the art of saying no. Stoicism teaches that no one can hurt you unless you allow them to. Boundaries are that permission you give. Every time you say no to what's meaningless, you're saying yes to something more important. You're protecting the energy, the time, and the peace that took you years to build. The weak need to say yes to be accepted. The strong say no to be respected. Because they understand, respect isn't earned by compliance. It's built through clarity. I once witnessed a simple but unforgettable situation. A group of friends invited each other out late. One person said no. No excuses. No apologies. He just said, "No, I'm going home to rest." Everyone laughed, teased him, but he didn't waver. The next day, everyone saw him calm on time, keeping his word. And little by little, they respected him. No is the most expensive word that the weak won't say. They fear losing others, but don't realize the real cost is losing themselves. Saying no isn't selfish, it's honest. Honest about limits, strength, and self-worth. A well-timed no saves you from 100 false yeses. A Stoic doesn't build walls to isolate themselves from the world. They simply know when to shut the door. They're not cold, they're just awake. And that awareness is kindness in its highest form. Because someone who doesn't know their own limits will soon drag the whole world into their chaos. Epictetus taught, freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about not being forced to do what's against reason. That's the spirit of no. Every no is a declaration that you respect your time, your sleep, your beliefs, and your focus, that you don't want to pretend to feel comfortable. You want to live authentically. And when others see you have boundaries, they start to trust you more because they know what you say has value. Your agreement isn't cheap. Your silence has purpose. And your no is your self-defense. Don't fear being disliked when you say no. The real fear is losing your own self-respect, because anyone can say yes to please others, but only someone with a strong spine dares to say no to live truthfully. Remember this, kindness doesn't mean always agreeing, and strength doesn't mean always enduring. Saying no doesn't close doors. It only keeps out the people who shouldn't be there. Boundaries don't push people away. They filter who deserves to stay. Help, the strength of those who help. In a world where everyone is busy climbing up, the person who stops to ask, "How can I help?" is the one who truly stands out. Because real kindness isn't loud, it acts in silence. Helping doesn't make you weak. It shows you have the inner strength to think beyond yourself. The weak help to be noticed. The strong help because they see the struggle without needing to be seen in return. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best thing that humans can do for one another is to help. Not for fame, not out of obligation, but because it's the instinct of those who understand the value of humanity." When you help someone, you're saying, "I see you, I'm not standing apart." And sometimes, a simple hand to pull someone up is enough to save them from the depths of despair. I once witnessed a small scene at a train station. A man bent down to help an elderly woman pick up a dropped bag. No one filmed it. No one clapped. He just bowed his head, then walked away. No one remembered his face, but everyone who witnessed it felt their hearts warmed. That's the essence of real kindness. Help, then disappear. No need for thanks, because the only reward is knowing you still have a heart. People think helping is an outward act. In reality, it begins from within, from observation, from empathy, from stopping long enough to notice someone else's need. And that's harder than you think, because most people today aren't lacking money. They're lacking attention. We pass by each other, look without seeing, hear without understanding. The true helper is someone who looks beyond the surface. Stoicism doesn't encourage you to be a savior. It teaches you to act in the right measure, at the right time, with the right people. Helping isn't about being praised, but about keeping your heart open in a world full of pain. Epictetus said, No one is rich enough not to need anything, and no one is poor enough not to give something. This cuts straight to the truth. We always have something to give, a word, a glance, a small gesture. You don't need to be a hero. You just need to be the person who stops when someone else is falling. That's already a huge difference in an age where everyone is busy making clips of themselves. Helping isn't interfering. It's the highest form of respect. I won't live your life for you, but I won't let you fall alone. The true helper doesn't seek benefit. They seek meaning, because they understand that meaning is the only thing left when all fame has faded. Some say, I'll help if they deserve it. But real kindness doesn't keep score, because if you only help those deserving, your kindness is just a transaction. A Stoic helps because it's the duty of an awakened soul. They help to keep themselves compassionate, not to prove their kindness. But if you help so others notice, you're buying back your own image. But if you help and forget, you've given away the best part of yourself. Someone once asked, if I help without being recognized, what then? The answer is, then you've learned freedom. Because only when you don't need praise does your kindness become truly pure. Helping others is a form of inner training. It tests whether you're willing to lower your ego, whether you're still enough to see what others need, and strong enough not to turn kindness into a weapon for self-importance. In the army of life, those who know how to help have conquered selfish instincts. Because helping doesn't make you lose. It reminds you of who you are. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, live as though every action of yours were an example. Helping others is the clearest example of that. Not because you need to prove anything, but because you choose not to be indifferent. When you have the power to turn away but choose to stay, that's true strength, not because you're weak-hearted, but because you're strong enough not to fear your kindness being taken advantage of. Because kindness doesn't harm you. Expectations do not help, then let go. Give, then forget. That's the art of living for the free. And in a world where everyone is trying to stand out, the person who helps quietly is the one who will be remembered the most. Not because they were seen, but because they made this world a little less cold. True strength isn't about how many people you can make fear. It's about how many people are safe when you're present. Actually, the strength to honor the truth in a room full of easy words. The person who dares to say actually is the one who dares to trade comfort for truth. And that's a rare form of courage. Most people choose silence because silence is safe. Telling the truth, it offends. But those who live by reason understand. Truth doesn't need you to like it. It needs you to face it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, love the truth, even when it upsets you. Because only truth can heal the illusions that comfort nurtures. Today's world loves beautiful stories, sweet words, and polished truths. But reality is ruthless, and those who cannot bear the truth will soon be crushed by it. I once witnessed a meeting where everyone nodded in agreement, even though the plan was clearly wrong. Only one young woman spoke up. Actually, this number isn't right. No one liked it. No one applauded. But thanks to her words, the entire project was saved. This is what you need to understand. Telling the truth won't make you loved. It will make you trusted. And trust, that value far surpasses any temporary comfort. The person who speaks the truth doesn't seek agreement. They seek accuracy. Not to win, but because they cannot tolerate falsehood. Some people always say what makes others happy, and they're called sweet. But the one who dares to say what others need to hear is the one worthy of respect. Truth doesn't need to be dressed up. It doesn't need to be trendy. It just needs to be spoken. And the Stoic understands, if the truth costs you someone, then they were never really yours. Epictetus taught, do not fear the truth, for fear will not make it disappear. Those who avoid the truth may find comfort for a moment, but they will pay for a lifetime of being lost. The truth teller is often misunderstood as cold, but they are the most humane, because only those who truly care dare to say what's hard to hear. so you don't self-destruct. I remember a colleague once told me after a speech, "Your talk was good, but you're speaking too fast to cover up your nervousness." No one else dared to say it. That one line made me silent all night. But the next day, I slowed down, and for the first time, I truly connected. That's the value of truth. It hurts, but it helps you grow. While sweet words lull you to sleep, until you fall off reality. Truth doesn't need you to make it pretty. It just needs you to have the courage to face it. Because nothing is as cruel as pretending. The world is full of kind people who don't want to cause trouble. They stay silent when they should speak, and say things they don't believe. That's not kindness. That's cowardice dressed up in politeness. The Stoic doesn't speak the truth to win an argument. They speak the truth to keep their soul intact. Because every time you distort the truth, you're cutting away a part of your own dignity. Truth doesn't make you loved, but truth makes you free. And freedom is always worth more than being loved. You can't be trusted if you only speak the truth when it's convenient. Because true strength isn't in knowing when to speak. It's in speaking even when you know it will cost you something. The truth teller doesn't seek joy in exposing others. They seek clarity, because they understand. Truth isn't a weapon. It's a compass. You can use it to hurt others, or use it to guide. The wise always choose the second path. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Never hide anything out of fear of what others will think. If it's right, speak it. If it's wrong, correct it." That's how a truthful person lives. Because in the end, what defines a person is not how they make others feel comfortable, but how they hold to the truth. Even if it means standing alone, when you dare to say actually. You might silence the room, but in that silence, you become the only real person in it. Comfort feeds the ego. Truth builds the man. Enough knowing when to stop. No one teaches us how to stop. Everyone teaches us to push a little more, to have more, to win more. But no one says, sometimes, knowing when to stop is the real victory. Enough. It may sound small, but it's the word that saves people from their own greed. Because the person who doesn't know enough will never find happiness, even with the world in their hands. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The rich man is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least." A statement that silences the material world. You can chase success, fame, and wealth, but if you don't know where to stop, everything you build will become a golden cage, trapping you inside. Stoicism doesn't teach you to quit. It teaches you to distinguish between moving forward for value and running endlessly because of emptiness. I once saw a friend so successful he no longer had time to live. His schedule was as tight as steel. Money in his account grew, but his eyes grew dimmer. One day, he said, "I just need one more year." But I knew that year would never be enough, because greed never says enough. It just changes names. From more money to more recognition, from more achievements to more praise. The Stoic doesn't oppose effort. They oppose the addiction to effort. Because when you can't stop, you're no longer free. You're a slave to your own desires. Seneca once wrote, "There's no favorable wind for the sailor who doesn't know where he's going." If you don't know when it's enough, every success is just a chase wrapped in light. The world glorifies those who never stop. But in truth, the most honorable people are those who know when to stop. Knowing when to stop when words start hurting others. Knowing when to stop when work swallows your soul. Knowing when to stop when success starts losing yourself. I once met an athlete at his peak, but after a serious injury, the doctor told him to rest. He could continue, but at the cost of his legs. He stopped, not out of fear, but because he understood. Victory isn't worth it if you trade the rest of your life for it. That's the strength of someone who knows enough, not because they're weak, but because they're strong enough to stop in the middle of the cheers. The weak are controlled by greed. The strong control their greed. And the wise are the ones who don't let greed define the value of their life. The world tells you, more is better, Stoicism says the opposite. Better is enough. Better doesn't always mean more. It means the right amount. When you know when to stop, you reclaim what others will never have. Peace. Not the peace of the one who gives up, but the peace of the one who's seen the heights and chooses to step down with their own feet. Knowing enough doesn't kill ambition. It just keeps ambition from killing you. That's the boundary between growth and self-destruct, Seneca taught. True wealth is when you can leave the table without needing more. This simple statement distinguishes the free person from the dependent one. Because the world is full of the rich, but few are free. The world is full of successful people, but few are at peace. When you can say enough, you lose nothing, you regain everything. Time, health, mind, presence. Things that the ones chasing a little more will never get back. Many think stopping means slowing down. But sometimes, only by stopping do you truly move forward. Because you're no longer being dragged, you begin to choose your own direction. Marcus Aurelius said, "What is enough for nature is enough for man." That's the cold reminder the modern world has forgotten. And maybe, happiness isn't at the top, but in the moment we can say softly, "That's enough." Not because we've given up, but because we finally understand. Not every race needs to be won. Some simply need to end at the right time. Enough isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Congratulations. The strength to rejoice for others when someone else wins. Your first reaction says more than you might think, because in that moment, you're not just showing your emotions, you're revealing your character. Most people smile when others succeed, but behind that smile is comparison. A congratulatory word spoken aloud, but a small question echoes in their mind. "What about me?" That's instinct. But the truly mature know how to control that instinct. They understand someone else shining doesn't mean you fade away. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't envy those who do well. Rejoice, because the world now has another example of good being done." That's how the wise view the world, seeing the success of others as a reminder, not a threat. Envy says, "I want what they have." But true joy says, "I'm happy that this exists." Because only those with a secure soul can celebrate the happiness of others, without fearing they're losing their share. I once saw this in a friend. We started a business together, failed together. One day, he was chosen, and I was not. I thought I would feel jealous, but as I saw him step on stage, I felt light, because I knew he deserved it. And if he won, then the effort of both of us wasn't wasted. That's when I realized, congratulating others doesn't make you smaller. It makes you grow. The modern world teaches you to compare. Algorithms push you to see who's better looking, wealthier, or more successful. Everything turns into an invisible leaderboard. But envy never creates lasting motivation. It only creates an insatiable hunger. The Stoic isn't afraid of being surpassed. They're afraid of losing their dignity through comparison. Because peace doesn't come from being better than others, but from not needing to be better than anyone else to feel enough. There are two types of people when they hear someone else's good news. One stays silent and says, "Oh, that's nice." The other looks you in the eye and says, "Congratulations, truly. I'm happy for you." The second type is rarer and more trustworthy, because those who truly congratulate others understand that success isn't a race, but a series of lights being lit by one another. If the one before you shines, that light paves the way for the one who comes after. Epictetus taught, "The wise person does not measure their part by what belongs to others," which means you can see others being wealthy, skilled, famous, but you don't need to feel lacking, because what you're pursuing isn't the same as theirs. The weak see life as a battlefield. The strong see it as a training ground. But the wise, they understand that anyone's victory is a lesson for all. I remember when a colleague got promoted instead of me. My first reaction was to freeze. Then he came over and quietly said, "I've learned so much from you." In that moment, I understood. His joy didn't take anything from me. it doubled the value for both of us. The person who can truly rejoice for others has conquered their ego, because the ego only knows how to compare, but the free soul only knows how to praise. Don't judge anyone by how they handle failure. Watch how they respond when others succeed, because there you'll see the truth. Who is confident in their own value, and who is living from a place of lack in their heart. Marcus Aurelius said, "We were born to work together, like hands and feet." When you genuinely celebrate someone else, you're acting in accordance with nature, because joy is not something that diminishes when shared. It multiplies. Try this. Next time someone succeeds, congratulate them without thinking anything else. No comparisons, no reservations. Just simply say, "I'm happy for you," and you'll see your heart feels lighter. Not because they won, but because you've won over yourself. Someone else may have glory. You may have peace. And sometimes, peace is worth more than glory. Secure souls celebrate others, because only the fulfilled can truly rejoice. When you can see others shine and still smile, that's when you know the light within you will never fade. To celebrate others is to master yourself. Celebrating others is how you master yourself. 8 words. They seem simple, but if you can live by each of them, you'll be completely different from the rest of the world. Apologize when you're wrong. Understand when others are hurting. Be grateful when given something. Set boundaries when needed. Help when you can. Speak the truth, even when it's inconvenient. Stop when you've had enough, and rejoice when others succeed. These aren't just 8 actions. They're 8 mirrors that reflect your character. No titles, no fame, just the courage to live each of these words every single day. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't talk about being a good person. Be you one." Because virtue isn't something to preach, it's something to practice quietly. The world today is loud. Everyone is shouting to be heard, arguing to be right, comparing to be seen. But the wise understand, true strength lies in stillness. You don't need noise to have value. You don't need arguments to be recognized. When you choose to speak the truth, choose to set boundaries, choose to help others, and still remain calm enough to say enough, you're living a stoic life. Calm, but not passive. Humble, but not weak. Strong, but still kind. And if you can truly rejoice in someone else's success without feeling smaller, then congratulations. You've won the game that the world is blindly chasing. Because in the end, true attraction doesn't come from appearance, money, or sweet words. It comes from character, from how you apologize, help, keep your word, and know when to stop. From how you make others feel safe, not impressed. Epictetus taught, no one is free if they haven't mastered themselves. And these 8 words, they are the keys to opening that door. Because virtue is not taught, it's lived. If you're on the journey of rebuilding yourself, remember, you're not walking this path alone. We're all learning how to be stronger, calmer, and more true. Live deliberately. And if this video has caused you to pause and think differently, leave a small sign, a like, a comment, or simply a moment of stillness to reflect. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell, because these aren't just videos, they're mental exercises, where we learn together how to become strong yet calm, cold but kind. Remember this when you leave this video: peace is power, silence is strength, virtue is freedom, and together, we all carry invisible battles. Let's carry each other. Be the person you'd want to meet. Virtue is the only magnet that lasts. Only virtue is the magnet that lasts. I'll see you in the next video of the Stoic Seeds journey, where each quiet thought becomes a seed of strength.